Girls, I am here with 2016 NBA champion Richard Jefferson.
Hey.
2008 champion Kendrick Perkins. Kendrick's a graduate of Cass University. You just had to go to Arizona.
Yeah, I just had to go to Arizona. It's cool.
You still got paid, though. But we go keep doing
No.
And on with our show. Coming up, the Lakers are 2.5 games from the best record in the league while they chase the top seed or rest their top players down the stretch. Our Lakers insider Dave McMenamin will join us later to discuss. First, though, Pascal Siakam's life was not supposed to turn out like this. When he was 11 years old, his father sent him to a seminary in Cameroon to learn to become a priest. Siakam didn't start playing organized basketball until he was nearly 18 years old. The first NBA game he ever saw live was the first one he played in as a rookie. That Siakam even made it as a pro is extraordinary. That he went on to become a starter on the team that won the NBA title last year, a starter on the All-Star team this year, all of that is astounding. So I guess it makes sense that he is part of Toronto putting together a season that is all about overcoming long odds, a season which only grew in lore last night. The Raptors were playing in Utah against the 4 seed in the West, at altitude, on the second night of a back-to-back, at the end of a long road trip. They continue to have a laundry list of injuries. Marc Gasol and Fred VanVleet were both out. And Norm Powell, who had just won Eastern Conference Player of the Week honors less than 6 hours before tip-off, promptly sprained his ankle in the opening minutes of the game. And yet, the Raptors battled, because that is what they do. Led by Siakam, because now that is what he does. Despite often being in foul trouble, Siakam had 27 points, including a handful of these turnaround jumpers, and they all went down smooth. I mean, he's not consistent game to game with his shot yet, but he is 6'9", so people just wait until he is. Siakam also dealing all night as well, finished with 8 assists, none prettier than this one, drawing the second defender, kicking it out to Serge for that open three.
Yeah. Point guard.
Right?
Looking good.
Now, Siakam's certainly the star, but it was a group effort. OG Anunoby, just a dog defensively. Look at this block on Rudy Gobert.
Give me that.
This kept it from being a one-possession game. And then, a little dust-up between the two. Gobert grabbing him and Anunoby slipping him an elbow. Both of them got tossed, which Gobert was not pleased about. Take a listen here.
You got tossed for that?
The guy that's getting paid to protect us, the players, didn't do his job. So, I just, it was a little altercation, and we both got ejected when I didn't do anything back, pretty much, which I don't understand. I don't think it makes sense to me. But next time I do justice myself.
Next time, I'll do justice myself. Sounds like a line from a French Western, if that's even maybe a thing. I don't know, maybe. Anyway, the real punctuation point of the game came from the 33-year-old Lowry, who played 36 minutes Sunday and 43 minutes Monday. Still had enough left in the tank for this pull-up 3 over Mike Conley to seal Toronto's win. Now, after the game, this picture of Lowry crossed Getty Images. It pretty much tells you everything you need to know about Kyle and about this Raptors team. This is a group that relishes all of the long odds it faces, and maybe that makes sense. Maybe if you grow up thinking you're going to become a priest, it's not so strange to go around expecting miracles. Richard, I know that you didn't grow up thinking that you were going to be a priest, because really at all.
No
but what do you think is the ceiling for the Raptors this season?
I think there's a small part that can make it to the finals. A small part. I believe they can make it to the finals. I think realistically for them, I think it's conference finals. I think if you're looking at them having to play Boston and then Milwaukee, I think it would be tough for them to do. They would get worn down. But I've been impressed and I've been surprised with their performance. But ultimately, I think they've had a great season, and I think they're going to have a good postseason.
Well, is it a great time for me to jump on my high horse?
Yeah,
yes, please.
Go for it.
Because before the season, I picked Lakers, Raptors finals.
You did.
And when you look at this...
How did you come to that? I'm impressed.
Because when you look at this Raptor team, they're deep. They're well coached by Nick Nurse, who I believe should win Coach of the Year this year. And multiple guys have stepped up. They are battle-tested, and they have different guys that step up every single night. They're under great leadership with Kyle Lowry, and Siakam is becoming a star right in front of our eyes. We just don't talk about them enough. And when you look at them, they battle through injuries. They're ahead of what they were last year. And to me, they can match up with anybody in the Eastern Conference. So they have different bodies that they could throw at Giannis if they happen to play the Bucks. And I'm just riding my horse. And by the way, I picked Siakam to make the All-Star team this year too, and he did that.
You don't have to be humble as we continue on the rest of this show.
Well,
Look, I will say, by the way, if you have made the All-Star team as a starter and you were a starter on an NBA champion team, you're not becoming a star. You are a star,
yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah.
That is definitely the real deal. I do want to revisit on something I touched upon at the top. You were very surprised, Richard, that Rudy Gobert got tossed for what happened there, that little altercation between the two of them, and he said, next time,
wow, he threw an elbow right there.
I will do justice myself.
To me, there's nothing about that altercation that says Rudy Gobert should be ejected.
That was
Zero.
his point. His point was that OG threw the elbow. And
if you watch 10 seconds, that 10-second clip that we just watched, I'm sorry, Rudy. And again, what we don't know if Rudy had a technical prior. That's the only thing that I don't know. But if that was the first
Producer Steve can tell you.
Producer Steve, let us know. Bear down. I just don't know. I wouldn't. I've seen you do more in warm-ups with your own teammates.
why are you telling on me today, RJ? Listen, this is my thing. Whether or not he got ejected or not, I want to go to a whole nother narrative.
Okay,
I'm
fine.
sorry.
Here we go.
I mean, it's not like he was on the court doing anything. He had 6 points and 4 rebounds. Like, at the end of the day, no, because I'm very disappointed right now in the Utah Jazz because I had them on your show as my dark horse contender. And since the All-Star break, I'm looking at Rudy.
That dark horse is a dead horse.
Yeah, it's dead horse. And he was averaging 15 points and 14 rebounds. Now he's averaging 12 and 9. And let's be real, right? He talking about taking matters in his own hands. Who knows today's league is soft. Like, nobody's going to bust a grape in the fruit fight, and he's not going to pour milk on cereal. So at the end of the day, we know this all the front. He's not taking matters in his own hands. And I told you, Rachel, I tweeted out today, I'm in rap form today.
That's right.
I'm in rap
Get
form
ready.
today.
Perk's got all the takes. How do you feel about Rudy Gobert?
Look,
Who, by the way, made the All-Star team as well.
Well, no, and I believe Rudy deserved to be an All-Star. I love what he does defensively, but it's okay. We can look at multiple different players across the league that are having a tough stretch right now, and Rudy Gobert and the Utah Jazz are a part of it. But Rudy, as a leader, needs to start putting more expectation on himself. I understand he had to talk about being thrown out, but ultimately he needs to step up. We need to see more from Mitchell. We need to see more from the entire group down the line if they want to. I don't want to say like save their season, but if they want to make the run that we believe they can.
Because once you become an All-Star, that pressure is a lot different, right? Like going into.
He did not have the tech before. That's a travesty. That's a travesty. If that entire exchange is what got somebody
You
thrown out
still
here.
talking about the ejection. I'm talking about the player of the Jazz.
I've moved past that. I'm telling you right
He's
now.
moved past it, back to the place that he was to begin with.
Come on, man.
There you go. Look, we just saw, too, some video file of Rudy when he has had his more emotive moments.
Be emotional.
But I
no
think he
problem.
wishes he was more emotive if he was going to get tossed anyway. I don't know. Coming up, Jamal Murray was called for a foul on what would have been a poster jam last night.
Oh, my. So, 2 bad calls.
So
That's crazy.
this sparked a lot of controversy.
I wish they would have thrown him
That's
out.
what Blake
We have
Griffin did to
so
me. I
many
didn't
more
get offensive foul.
posterizations that don't count in the next segment, and here's our distant replay. It's this date, 2004. You know Jason Kidd and Kenyon Martin.
Oh, my God. That's Scalabrini?
That's what you call snatching
my
the
God.
screws out of
Right?
Yes.
That's snatching the screws out of
Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd. Look at this.
And Martin nearly did.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look like old Celtics basketball right there.
Look,
Where's Kevin McHale?
They don't miss you at all.
No, they don't.